And we are back
on Build Phase TV.
And just so you know, there's like you can see the red line because I didn't add an apostrophe. I think it is. This was made a year ago, so there might be a little misspells, and also this was the first draft.
Well, let's
and all.
tell the people what this is. So a year ago, Whitman made a bunch of fantasy cards.
Because during COVID, I kind of had nothing else to do, and I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could show the world what I want in like cards? And I wanted to do this video, and we kind of forgot about it, so it's been held off for a year now, and I'm really excited.
The plan was to go back over to these and kind of spell check it, grammar check it, tune up the powers, figure the cards out, and then reveal them to the world. And what we did instead is you wrote all these, we did nothing with it for a year, and now we're going to go back and look at it live.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I have no regrets if I misspell a word. And
well, don't worry about it. This is going to be fun. Don't be self-conscious.
I'm not self-conscious. I'm actually extremely excited, and I don't think anything that I did wrong is going to bring me down because it's been
I
so
will
long.
say, I know there's at least one card on here that can't be on this list anymore. Because this is supposed to be Whitman's versus cards that he wants to exist, but for some reason don't.
Version.
And this dude...
It's not... We're still going to show them my version because, of course, this was before the Carnage was even known to... This was before Civil War was even released. We were still in Dark and Light when it was... I'm pretty sure...
Oh, it was longer ago than that.
Yeah, Dark and Light was being teased still.
I think this was back, late summer 2020, right? Like, after the Fantastic arc ended?
Yeah, like...
Kind of right in that era?
It was right in the part where, Dark and Light was starting to become teased, but, like, we didn't really know what it was.
So maybe it's not... So it's not a year old, then?
It's about a year.
Yeah, close, but not quite. Okay.
Maybe 360 days instead of 365.
Okay. All right, so we have a Taskmaster... Level 1 main character who's unaffiliated.
6 wounds, 3 attack, 4 defense range, photographic reflexes. Main...
Well, hold on. Before we get to any of his other stuff, just a 3/4/6 with range, that's a pretty good stat line on a level 1. Now, being unaffiliated, that means he's not going to get... Unaffiliated? Why did I say it that way? That means he's not going to have a wild card. So the only way he's going to be able to pay for superpowers is using basics.
Which is why most of his stuff you don't have to pay for.
So photographic reflexes, main phase costs a red. While Taskmaster is in melee combat, he gains the abilities of the defender.
Yeah.
So this is actually really similar to what the Taskmaster that we got in Civil War does, right?
But this was before Civil War was
I know.
even out. I had the same idea.
But I'm just saying, you could almost make this not a superpower, and it'd be fine.
Well, it gets... don't.
Okay.
Because it has to be upgrading level 2, and how I'm making a level 2 is better, and I don't want to make it. And
so he also has Combat Master, so your opponent can't play plot twists while he's in combat, which is excellent. Maybe one of the best keywords ever, Combat Master.
And he has a Mimic level up 7. Taskmaster gains an XP for each power he has copied this combat.
Okay. So you really want... Oh, wait, it's a main phase power.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was going to say you really want people to team attack into you so you can copy lots of powers, but you can only do this during the main phase.
That's what evens him out. He gets really good, though. I originally wanted him to be a 7 health and then 8 health when he leveled, but that was just too overpowered.
7 experience with this being your condition is pretty tough.
But he gets really, really good payoff.
Okay, well, let's see the payoff. He becomes a 7/7, still has 6 HP, still has range, and does not have a team affiliation.
And photographic reflexes main, you don't have to pay for it anymore, and same thing. And Combat Master, if you know how to use it, then I do too. I want to change that name too. Then I know how to do it better. And when an enemy player plays an equipment, you just copy it. KO your copy of version of the equipment at the end of your turn. So if they play Nullfire, then you get to nullify something.
So you get like a token version of the Nullifier.
Yeah. So like if they play Nullfire, it doesn't copy what they're saying is now canceled. But now I'm thinking about it. Which triggers first, the Nullifier or that ability? Because what if they nullify that ability?
Well, him getting a nullifier wouldn't be super helpful, right? Well, I guess, does it appear?
It just appears, and you get to choose whatever you want.
So you might want to phrase that when an equipment appears on the enemy side, a copy of that equipment appears on your side.
That's how I wanted to do it.
So that way you still get like coming into play effects. That would be the worst power ever, though,
if it wasn't. You
put it into a deck that also has inhibitor collars. So you play an inhibitor collar and then you have to collar your own Taskmaster. No, well, but you wouldn't do that. Nobody would do that.
I'm pretty sure that's why it says. Doesn't it say you may?
Wait,
it doesn't say you may. I meant to put you may.
I think having it may would be okay. So martial artist is going to make him a 9/9 at level 2 with 6 wounds and range. I think that's great. For photographic reflexes, you might want to call this something different than this. And you don't even need the word main. If it's just on all the time and he doesn't have to pay for it at all at level 2, then you don't have to specify main phase. So is this guy good? I think this guy's ridiculous, honestly. I think this guy's
good or bad?
I think he's ridiculously strong. I think his level up is going to be tough because there's only going to be 4 times.
That's how I wanted to balance him
in the
out.
entire deck where you're going to be able to use this power, and you're going to have to be able to get 7 experience, and you can't count on drawing all 4 of those.
But at the time it was fair because he was so stupid at the time. But now I'm mad because they made a Taskmaster supporting character that does the thing better than mine.
I mean, that does say something about power level. Like, if Super Awesome Games wrote the power this way, maybe you could just put that power on this main character.
But no.
And I think it's fine, honestly.
Well, based on at the time, you know what I mean? I'm making this from a year ago's format.
Yeah, that's true.
And Fantastic Four just released, basically.
So, I think if you want to make it cost a red, I think the level up should get way smaller. It should be like 2. Or,
well, no, because then he could do it in one time.
Or if you make it so bigger than that, you're right. So it should be like 4.
That I originally was going to do 5, but I'm pretty sure you recommended 7 because it was so overpowered.
If this was free, I think 7. I think 9 might even be fair.
No. So yeah.
Overall, I like this guy a bunch.
I do too.
I think he does some fun things. I love if you know how to use it, then I do too, and you get to copy whatever equipment they play. That feels... Yeah. There's going to be times where that's going to feel kind of inappropriate. Like if somebody plays like a soul sword on their magic, although that might say it can only be equipped to magic, in which case you wouldn't be able to put it on your side. It would just KO
itself immediately.
You might want to specify that the equipment goes on Taskmaster, though. Like, this makes it sound like you gain a copy of the equipment, like, to your hand, almost. But I almost feel like it should... whatever the equipment is, it should appear on Taskmaster, and maybe he could have a thing where equipment that appears this way does not count towards his 1 equipment limit. So
that's
that would be
also
cool.
Because it's kind of like he's just kind of copying you. He's mimicking that, but I couldn't use the word mimic because that was his level up condition. Okay, now we're going to go to one that I think we've all wanted for quite some time.
Theo's like, not only is this my favorite character, but this is some of the best Nightcrawler drawings ever. Shout out Ed McGuinness. I loved this storyline, by the way.
I based his level of condition based on this exact panel of art. When I read one storyline with Nightcrawler in it before, but when I read this, I fell in love with the character. I love this storyline. I love that comic and this panel so much. I just need to express how much I like it.
Let's maybe fill in this storyline a little bit. This is the cover art from the first issue of, I think it was called X-Men Unleashed.
Actually, I wasn't taking the cover art. I read a book where this was used in the comic.
Okay, well, maybe it was in the cover. I thought this was on the cover.
No.
But it's an Ed McGuinness story.
It was in the cover, but then again, it was reused in the book
an Ed McGuinness
with more
drawn.
context. You know what I mean?
And this was a story that came out after Nightcrawler has been dead for a while.
A long time.
And he's in hell, and he's fighting his way out of hell. So this is his dad over here. And his dad, I don't remember, was he trying to keep him in hell for some reason? Or was he just like, if I have to be here, you do too? I can't remember the details. It's been a while since I've read this one.
He was kind of trying to keep him in there because I remember his dad can kind of travel out of hell, I'm pretty sure, whenever he wants or something.
Dude, the fact that all your guys have 6 wounds is outrageous. So he's a 4, 5, 6 at level 1. Dude, that is chonky.
He only
4,
has one
5,
ability.
6?
I think we're all gonna like this ability. It might be over. I did kind of make him a little
So,
overpowered looking back.
Bamf, you pay a blue. It doesn't say when is this supposed to happen. Does this happen
You
during
can do
combat?
it anytime.
Anytime?
Yes.
Like during the build phase?
If you want to during the build phase, main phase, enemy turn, anytime. But I don't know what they say for anytime. And I can't use a symbol on a Google Doc, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that might... I don't know that there has been a superpower that has the ability to be used whenever it wants to. So you might have to either create new language for that or have Bamf, main phase, say what it does, Bamf, combat, say what it does. Even if it's the same language, you know what I mean?
It do the exact same thing. And
So that might be something to think about. Well, what does it do? Move Nightcrawler to the other row. If in combat, you must choose another character to defend instead of Nightcrawler.
So it's kind of like the opposite, stupid. Instead of sidestepping, you're going in the back row, and somebody else in the front row is defending.
So I'm attacking Nightcrawler, and he bamfs out of the way, and I have to punch Kitty Pryde instead. Is that how this would work?
That's how this works. But you get to decide. So you can bamf out of the row and then make their main character hit somebody who's bigger than them to make them take a damage, which I really, really thought of. And
I will say Nightcrawler jumping out of the way to let somebody else get punched is a little bit off-brand for the character.
Yeah, but how else am I going to do
bit.
it? He moves to the back row, like mobile, and ends the combat? I don't want to do that.
No.
I still want somebody to pay.
I think you should also be able to do this during combat and have Nightcrawler become the defender.
Well, because it can be
So it can go both ways. So he can dip out of combat or he can jump into combat.
Well, actually, now that I realize...
That would be cool.
It says move Nightcrawler, but it doesn't specify any time. So if he's being attacked... But, I mean, if he's attacking, then he can move...
The bottom line is,
But
though,
still,
you want to be able to pay a blue and move
get out.
Nightcrawler and do shenanigans. I think we need to give that power just a little bit of an editing pass to clean it up, though.
Yeah, but then again, like we said, this was a year ago.
So, I am not your boy. Level up 5, play all 5 plot twists. Each one gives you 1 XP. I think we could probably clean this up too. Like, you get 1 XP for each plot twist of the following names. You may pay a blue to search for one of these plot twists. Is this just to make it a bit easier, part of the official game text of this card?
I just wanted to be funny.
Might want to use a different color other than blue if we're going to use blue here. Because that's a lot, but...
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to separate. So
you can only put this into your deck if an X-Men main character is being played.
Used.
Should this be if your main character is named Nightcrawler? Or do you want to be able...
No, it can be used on any X-Men main character because they kind of all were on the ship, if I remember correctly.
And are these one of a kind?
Yes.
Okay, so we should probably say one of a kind in the game text, but that's okay. So this one gives a character +1 attack. Like forever or just for the combat, for the turn?
I forgot to specify counter.
Oh, so it should be a +1/+1 counter.
Well, except it doesn't give you defense. That's confusing.
I mean, you could create a new kind of counter for this character.
Yeah. Well,
it could be a +1 attack counter.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so this one's gonna give you a +1 defense.
Yeah, -1.
A -1, a -1 defense, and
+1 and a minus. Well, what I meant to say here, just before you criticize it, you get the +1/+1 if you want, and then they get the -1/-1. They don't cancel each other out. They're on different characters.
So so it should be give a character a -1 and give a different character a +1.
Yes.
Something like that. Because that does sound like...
it can be the same character, but of course.
Yeah, but then that card does nothing if you put both on the same character. Unless it's a character that gets XP for counters going on him, there could be a character that could come out, but that doesn't seem to be the case here.
Yeah, I doubt it.
So do these have to be played sequentially 1 to 5, or doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter, but I want to review them in the way that they came in the comic because it just gives them an extra flavor. You know what I mean?
So I would suggest using red, the skill,
Yeah,
color.
I kind of just picked blue because Nightcrawler's blue.
Each
At
that's
the
funny.
time.
Well, if that's the reasoning, then maybe you should call this power Fuzzy Blue Elf.
I did not know what the names are now, but I do think I should have made a lot of his stuff red. But a lot of his stuff's blue.
So, yeah, I think using blue for his Bamf makes sense because that's like an energy power.
Yeah.
And then using red
Wait, which one's
to represent
energy?
skill.
Isn't one of them energy?
Blue is energy.
Oh, yeah.
And red is skill. And each one of these Nightcrawler plot twists, he's kind of getting a slight improvement on his skills. Like, this could almost be representative of him learning from Charles Xavier, which kind of feels cool, calling this I am not your boy. That's him, like, saying, get out of here to Azazel. And these could have, like, a theme of him learning life skills from Charles. And that could be kind of like Nightcrawler's story. That could be really cool, man.
Yeah, that's kind of part of it. And he actually, in the comic panel, they're based in a way where he actually is saying, I am not your boy to his dad.
I noticed
while
that.
He's fighting. And I wanted to show them in the right order. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. And I need to say it in the right order on the card. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
Am I not your boy?
So then
kind
we'll keep the Azazel. So after you do all of that, you become a 6/7/6. Dude, starting with a 4/5 and going to a 6/7, this guy is...
Oh, read his
problem.
abilities. He gets way better.
To put it in the terms of Team Apex, he's a problem.
Well, he has Bamf, still pay blue, everything's the same. And Sword Fighter. When he's attacking, he gets +1 attack in melee combat.
And Sword Parry, when he's defending, he gets +1 defense. I do kind of like the idea that you have these Nightcrawler-specific tokens that have never been used before in the game.
Yeah. And also, just so you know, the reason I put Parry is because I like how it feels. Also because I used to fence and I know the names. Otherwise, I'd have to look up what's the name of a sword block, and Parry's the most common.
Is the intent that these are going to go on like a +1 or -1 counter, so that if he gets stunned, they go away?
He just gets it in Sword Fire. But on the plot twist, he just has them now, and they go away when he's stunned.
So they do act like red or green counters. They go away when stunned. They can be removed by counter removal effects.
But on Sword Fighter and Sword Parry, they aren't counters.
Okay, so this is just anytime he's in melee combat, he becomes a 7/7.
Yeah,
and
anytime he's defending.
Okay, so this is different than the plot twist. Okay, I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
I mean, his stats are pretty impressive just by themselves, honestly.
Yeah, and that also, I really like this character. How do you feel if I converted the flavor good? Well,
I think the flavor is excellent. I like the use of art, and even though it kind of, you can see you can see M.
I did that on purpose. So
Yeah,
you can see him.
you can see what you're going for there. Some of this, to actually put this artwork onto a card, is probably going to need to be stretched or manipulated.
Some of these
way.
are supposed to be EA, just so you know. I'm just putting that out there.
Maybe he should have a power here as well, called like Redeemed or something, because at the end of this story, after he beats Azazel, he gets out of hell, right? And he comes back to life.
Yeah.
So maybe there could be like some kind of nod to that on this card. As far as a turn right melee character who's going to get down and dirty and fight, this guy is going to stack wounds. Like, I like the way he works. I do think 5 plot twists.
But then again, he's super good on
And
turn
they're all one of a kind.
1. But he's super good on turn 1, and you can pay a blue just to make it a little bit easier in my own wording.
And because he's X-Men affiliated, you'll have the ability to use that power 8 times if you need to.
Yeah.
I do think the ability to pay a blue to search for one of these plot twists should probably be pulled off of the level up condition. Like, that should be a separate superpower.
Well, no, because then it can be canceled, and you can't cancel a level condition.
You really thought about this, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Well, however that's phrased, then this is a whole unique new thing that we've never seen before in Versus, so we might have to kind of work on the templating.
Nightcrawler is a whole unique thing we've never seen in Versus, to be fair. Okay, some of you probably don't know this character because I think he might be a little bit obscure if you think about it. But
Why?
Thomas Edison.
Why did you make a Thomas Edison?
Because he's my favorite looking Marvel character in the entire franchise.
So Thomas Edison
is a
Kamala Khan's archvillain.
Yeah, he kidnaps Kamala Khan's sister and then tries to harvest them.
Harvest them?
That's his exact wording. I'm pretty sure he says, "I collect the teenagers for the great harvest." I'm pretty sure.
Sounds so sinister, dude.
I know.
Okay. So he's unaffiliated. Again, that means he's not going to have a wild. So his
because he does
stuff is going to be only basics. His superpowers. Wow, I had a hard time with that word, didn't I?
He has
1-4.
I mean, Thomas Edison, do you think he can attack himself? He
That's not very good.
But here's the thing. He builds giant robots to attack with him.
Okay. I mean, it can be right for the
he can't attack
character.
himself. I kind of wish I put 0 attack and then 5 defense.
Well, it can be thematically appropriate for the character, and it can still be a stat line that makes me go.
Yeah, but it's good for the character. It makes sense. I'm not going to give Thomas Edison 5 attack because he's not an attacker.
Got it. So it's 0-5 or 1-4 depending upon how you feel. 6 wounds again. I am not a bird. Build phase. Pay a green.
No, you're supposed to read it. I am not a bird.
There's no exclamation point. So he gets a +1/+1. I do like the flavor of him getting mad to get the +1/+1.
I mean, he says it multiple times.
But spending a whole card to get 1 counter is not great value. That's really expensive for 1 counter.
Honestly, in my opinion, you're supposed to save those, but I want to put them on the level 1 because, you know what I mean? Because that ability gets significantly better on the level 2.
So, in order to level up, he has to create an invention.
2 inventions.
Oh, 2. Okay, I see it there. And to invent, it costs a red. Now, I will say, having this guy have the ability to invent on turn 1 is really, really, really strong.
I mean, that's his whole thing.
Once you invent twice, he becomes a 3/6. How do you feel about that stat line? Do you want to keep the 3/6?
Maybe 3/7.
Or do you want to make him like a 2/8?
Oh, I was going to say 3/7.
Okay, so a little more defense, maybe even. Now he gets 2 +1s for green.
As you can see.
So you have Inventor here. Does he still pay a red?
No, it's free now.
What? Get out of here.
But I mean, he can get beat up so much. Wait a second. He's only supposed to have... 1 second. Can we go back to level 1 for a second? I think I might have... He's supposed to have 5 wounds on his level 1.
Oh, okay. So he gets that 6th wound when he levels up 2.
I'm sorry.
Genius. If he's face up at the start of your turn, you draw a card. And so I think what you want here instead of Inventor is a power called Stroke of Genius, which lets you either draw a card or get an invention, and it triggers at the start of your turn.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to have him be able to invent, at the start of the main phase.
I want him to be able to do both, kind of, because he's smart and he's an inventor, and he does them both in the same time.
So does he have some cool inventions?
Oh, yeah. This one can... But we didn't even... He gets +2/+2 now for I'm not a bird. It was so hard to find the giant Thomas Edison robot. You do not know how long I was on, 3 hours trying to find it because there's almost no images of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
There's almost no images of it.
Don't we have these issues on paper? We could have just gone and taken some pictures of them.
I didn't know where they were at the time.
Fair enough. Okay, so only Thomas Edison can invent this.
And I'm pretty sure...
Well, it can only be put into his invention pile. So the
put on...
hands off the maker.
Also, here's the thing. It can only... It's free to play on Thomas Edison.
So it costs 4, but you're never going to pay 4. Because
you're going to put it on Thomas Edison.
A free 4/4 on your main character is always the correct play, as opposed to paying 4 to put 4/4 on anybody else. Other than, a specific, really narrow situation. I think he needs more inventions. I think only 1 invention is not enough inventions for a guy who's so clearly all about the inventions.
But I mean, here's the thing. You can get him on as his level 1. And I also tried to get the tank, but I couldn't find any art that wasn't from the Marvel Champions. Yeah, so I didn't want to copyright. So he is supposed to have a tank that gives him something, but I just couldn't find art that wasn't copyright. So.
Yeah, as far as how this guy works, I like it a lot. I like the dependence on the invention pile. I like 3 inventions at level 2.
This one is kind of a joke, but still, it should be in the game.
Okay, so now we're going to move to a card that is now in the game, but at the time when you created this, it wasn't. So Carnage is unaffiliated, 3/3 range with 5 wounds. He has Symbiosis, Climb, And Serial Killer gains an
leap.
XP each time he stuns
He
a
has
character.
leap. You spelled upper deck so wrong.
Sorry, everyone. So he's got
leap.
that's flight on your turn, right?
I thought it was it's flight.
Yeah, flight on your turn. Okay. You know, honestly, he almost should have grab too, but then just give him flight, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
What is that? That doesn't look like Carnage. Exactly.
It's not.
What is it?
That's Toxin. So what I'm trying to do is find the reveal article where we were introduced to Carnage.
Go up.
There it is.
That's some amazing
art. Goodness. So your Carnage starts as a 3/3. The only way he has to generate additional counters is through climb. He can fly on his turn, has range.
And he has Carnage gains an XP every single time he stuns a character.
So if I'm playing against this guy, I'm never going to attack in with a dude where we're going to trade. I'm only going to attack where I can wound you and you can't wound. So that way you're not going to level up till turn 5.
But here's the thing. The idea of him is he never has to spend anything. So you always only use your resources to climb. Or if you have a Might Makes Right, you use that so that you have.
Well, and climb doesn't spend the resource; it just exhausts it. Remember?
Yeah, so you can just. So the whole idea is, don't ever spend any of your resources and just.
You know. Anyway, I don't want to go back to that guy. This art looks really cool. Once he levels up, he goes up to 7 wounds.
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's a good payoff.
And he becomes 7/5 with range. Still has climb. Then he gains Berserker and Symbiosis. And leap. This is excellent Carnage flavor. This feels very good. I like this.
Also, how do you love the art?
Awesome. This kind of Carnage is some of my favorite comic book art ever.
I do too. I love this art.
So now, and I didn't tell you we were going to do this, but I had the idea. We're going to compare to this Carnage card that you haven't seen yet.
Whoa!
So
that art is so amazing.
Notice how he has small stats.
It's the exact same.
Well, it's not the exact same.
Almost the exact same.
He's got small stats at level 1. He has Berserker on level 1, which you gave him climb, symbiosis, and whenever he stuns an enemy character or gets stunned, he gains an XP. So that's so similar to what Danny and Ben actually did.
It still has 5.
Symbiote affiliated. At level 2...
It doesn't gain 2 extra hit points. How dare you!
He's only at 5/5/5. Still has Berserker, and whenever he stuns a character or gets stunned, he gets a +1 counter on him, just like his level 1 version, the Underworld affiliated one. So this is...
Wait, there's an Underworld Carnage?
Yeah, it came out the second expansion ever. There was
I didn't know there was
cost
any.
Carnage.
Oh, wait, no.
So,
I thought you were saying level 1, like, main character.
Thematic-wise, like flavor-wise, these cards are the same.
Yes.
It's crazy to me how you made the exact same
Two
card that
brilliant
Danny
minds
did.
think I'm alike.
That's really funny. I think theirs is maybe a little bit less overpowered. I think with symbiosis
How dare you call my favorite character
and
overpowered?
stats like this guy's gonna get mad OP. But so overall, how do you feel about these cards? Looking at them, a year later.
Some of them need to get more powers and make them better because the formats have definitely changed since a year. But some of them, like my Carnage, are just gonna stay the exact same. Because I'm not going to make him less overpowered.
Carnage felt very good. Yeah. All right. So do you have any other parting thoughts about your fantasy cards?
Man, I wish I had more flavor on them.
Well, sure.
I'm always aiming for flavor. Even if it makes the character underpowered or overpowered, I feel like flavor is what makes the character fun to play.
It's certainly what Danny and Ben focus on. And given that we're making content about this card game and how much time we spent playing this card game, I think it's fair to say Danny and Ben made a good choice in making the game flavor first for the most part. It certainly seems to work.
And also on the idea of, it makes it more fun to play the game based on the idea of it being flavor, not just oh, this character looks strong, so we're going to make him strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's an important part in this card game. And if it didn't do that, I probably wouldn't still be playing it today.
Okay. Well, we're going to maybe do an editing pass on these and then put them into MSE and then create actual cards that
And we're
look
gonna
like
play with
cards,
them.
and then maybe we'll come back and talk about them again and talk about some of the changes we made. Sound like a good plan?
Also, I just want to say I want to make more of these kinds of things because this was really fun to do, even if it's been a year since I made them. It was fun to make them. It was fun to show them to the world.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to do this more times.
Danny and Ben have given us an excellent sandbox to play in.
Yeah.
Like, they've established the rules of this world, and creating
now
cards
all we
within this
have to
world is a
do-
lot of fun.
And now all we have to do is just create something within those rules, and it's just always so fun. Unless you're doing Dark Phoenix, don't create a Dark Phoenix as good as theirs. Never.
So there's only